Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're pulling back the curtain to dive into the sheer technical marvel behind what experts are universally calling the most ambitious open-world simulation ever attempted. We're talking about Grand Theft Auto 6. But we aren't just buying into the hype here, we are looking at the foundational architecture, the engine, the physics, and the hard data that actually makes this digital world tick. So here's our architectural blueprint for today. We'll be hitting the ultimate open-world simulation, rebuilding the Rage 9 engine, ray-traced global illumination, procedural euphoria physics, and finally the 30 FPS reality check. Let's jump right in. Part 1. The ultimate open-world simulation, or the evidence of their ambition. Look, before we get into the micro calculations, let's talk about the macro scale. Because we aren't just guessing here. We've got a comprehensive analysis of the official trailers, Digital Foundry's highly technical frame-by-frame breakdowns, testimony from former Rockstar devs, and straight-up comparisons with current industry benchmarks. And you know what? All of these distinct, rigorous sources align perfectly. Every single piece of evidence confirms we are looking at an unprecedented leap in gaming technology. The ambition here isn't just to make a new game, it's to entirely redefine what a simulated world can actually be. Section 2, Rebuilding the Rage 9 engine. Because you simply cannot build a next-generation skyscraper on a last-generation foundation. 13. That represents the massive 13 years of development required for this project. Rockstar didn't just casually tweak their old software. This represents a complete, ground-up engine reconstruction. We're talking over a decade of iterating, breaking down and rebuilding the core tech that's going to drive every single pixel and polygon in the game. And the primary goal of that 13-year rebuild was to feature and fully support physically based rendering, or PBR. Basically, materials in the game, metal, skin, concrete, water, they don't just have flat textures slapped onto them anymore. They possess actual physical properties that dictate exactly how they interact with light and shadow, pushing the visual realism to a level we absolutely haven't seen at the scale before. Which brings us to Part 3, Ray-Traced Global Illumination, Lighting a Living World. This is where things get wild, because the crucial element in creating this illusion of reality is the lighting. With RTGI, the game abandons those old, faked lighting tricks. For decades, games have relied on rasterized lighting, essentially painting shadows and light into a scene to fake the appearance of realism. Not anymore. Digital Foundry confirmed there is zero rasterized lighting here. Instead, light behavior is inherently calculated in real time across the entire environment. So every sunbeam bouncing off a car hood and reflecting onto a nearby building, it's calculated on the fly, behaving exactly like real photons do. It's computationally massive, but it grounds the world in absolute visual reality. Section 4. Procedural euphoria physics, unscripted brutality. Because, let's be honest, gorgeous, ray-traced lighting alone doesn't make a world feel alive if the people in it move like robotic mannequins, right? The characters have to react realistically. This is where Rockstar's legendary euphoria physics engine takes a monumental leap forward. We are seeing procedural reactions based on impact force, the exact location of an injury, and even the current physical state of the NPC. The big takeaway here? Zero canned animations. No more pre-recorded falling motions when a character gets bumped. The game instantly calculates their weight, momentum, and point of impact to generate a totally unique physical response. It creates these moments of unscripted brutality that feel disturbingly, incredibly real. But what's truly staggering here is the sheer, overwhelming scale of the simulation. It's one thing to calculate a procedural fall for one character. It is an entirely different technological beast to process thousands of real-time physics calculations per second across dozens of NPCs simultaneously. Picture a crowded beach or a busy street in the game. Every single person in that crowd has their own weight, momentum, and physical presence being simulated in real time. It's a living, breathing ecosystem. Finally, Section 5, the 30 FPS reality check, or the cost of ambition. Powering all of those simultaneous physics calculations and real-time lighting bounces comes with a very real physical hardware cost. Data analyzed from the second trailer shows they are rendering natively at 1440p, and then using upscaling technology like FSR or potentially PSSR on the PS5 Pro to reach that crisp 4K output. This is a very clever trick. It lets the developers maintain incredible visual fidelity without forcing the hardware to render every single pixel from scratch under such a heavy simulation load. But even with this upscaling trick, current consoles have a hard limit. And this highlights a core mystery that a lot of people actually get wrong about game performance. Usually, when a game struggles to run, we assume it's a GPU limitation, like the graphics card just can't draw the pictures fast enough. But that is not what's happening here. The actual cause of the frame rate limit is a CPU bottleneck. The processor is getting entirely choked by the massive living simulation loads we just explored. Keeping track of those RTGI lighting bounces and thousands of procedural euphoria physics calculations every single second simply maxes out the CPU's capacity. So the crucial point is that a silky smooth 60 frames per second is basically impossible without ripping out that incredible ray-traced global illumination and dumbing down the procedural physics, making a 30 FPS cap the objective, necessary trade-off for the level of simulation they're achieving. They are deliberately choosing a complex, reactive world over a faster frame rate. Which leaves us with a final, provocative thought to consider as we wrap up this explainer of Rockstar's technological masterpiece. When you truly understand the sheer mathematical weight of the Rage 9 engine, the RTGI, and the euphoria physics happening in real time, is sacrificing 60 frames per second the necessary price we have to pay to finally experience a truly living, breathing digital world? It's a fascinating trade-off, and one that is absolutely going to redefine our expectations for open-world games forever. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope this helped you see exactly what's going on under the hood.